Hello grade 2s and welcome back to WorksheetCloud. Welcome to your grade 2 maths lesson for today, and I hope that you are ready to learn with me and to learn something new together. Now if you have any questions throughout the lesson or after the lesson, you can just ask mommy or daddy to help you. Send an email to grade2@worksheetcloud.com and we'll try and answer your questions as quickly as possible. Now, my name is Teacher Taryn, and today we are going to learn all about 3D shapes. Now, these are actually called three-dimensional shapes. That's a very big word, so we can say 3D shapes for short. Now, you have been learning about shapes in grade R or in grade 1 or now in the beginning of grade 2, and the shapes that you've been doing are two-dimensional shapes. Now that just means that they are flat shapes that either you can draw on a piece of paper or you can cut out of the paper or you can see in a book. They don't take up any space in front of you. Now these shapes are things like squares or circles or triangles or rectangles, and all of these shapes actually make up 3D shapes if we put them together. So let's have a look at what 3D shapes are. 3D shapes are fat, not flat. A cone is like a party hat. A sphere is like a bouncy ball. A rectangular prism is a building tall. A cylinder is a can of pop. A cube is like the dice you drop. 3D shapes are here and there. 3D shapes are everywhere. Now, you've actually been seeing 3D shapes all around you in the world, everywhere where you are. You might see 3D shapes in your house, or at school, or on the playground, or in a shop, because 3D shapes are everyday things that we see all the time. They take up space in front of us, not flat like 2D shapes. So let's have a look at our first 3D shape, and this is called a cube. Now, this is what a cube looks like, and a cube, you can see it is taking up space in front of me, and it is made up of squares all the way around. So equal squares, it doesn't matter from which side you look at it, they are equal squares all the way around my cube. Now, let's have a look at some everyday things that are cubes. Here we have a box. Now this box might not look like it has equal squares all the way around, but that's only because you're looking at it from the front. So if you look at this cube from the front, and I turn it slightly, then you won't see that this side has an equal square. But that's only because of where you are standing or looking at the shape. If I turn it all the way around, you can see that it is a perfect square. And if you look at the top, it's a perfect square. So a cube has equal squares all the way around it. So this box is a cube, and so is this Rubik's Cube. It's a game where you twist all these shapes around to match the colors. Or dice, they are cubes. Or a building block could be a cube. Or a block of ice. Now some of us might make ice in different shapes or different sizes, but most of the ice trays that we would buy would make a cube. Okay, our next shape that we have is a cone. Now a cone looks like this. And this cone, you can see, has a curved side. If I turn it all the way around, it's curved all the way around. It's flat underneath. So if I want it to stand up, it will stand on its flat side. And it has a sharp point at the top. You can see. Now, a cone could be the cone of an ice cream, and then we're just going to turn our cone upside down, and it is still a cone, it's just at a different angle. A cone could also be a traffic cone or a beacon, And this we would see either on the side of the road, or maybe we see this at sport when we do sport. Sometimes we also buy our popcorn or chips in a cone that is upside down, or a party hat is also a cone. Okay, our next shape we are going to look at is a cylinder. Now, a cylinder has a curved side all the way around. If I turn it, you can see it has a flat side on top. It has a circle over there. It has a circle on the other side. And if I wanted to stand up, I could let it stand on its flat side. Now, a cylinder is very popular. We might see it a lot at home, or we might see it a lot in the shop. And a cylinder could also be a battery. It can be a tin, like tinned food, or a can. It can be a toilet roll. It could also be a can of cool drink, or it could be a glass. But just make sure that your glass has straight sides that go straight up, and isn't a glass that has curved sides that go out. Now, a pyramid, that's our next shape we're going to look at. And this is what your pyramid would look like. It's very similar to a cone. It has a flat side underneath, but our flat side, if it is a square, we call it a square-based pyramid. Then we're going to have a sharp point on top, and all the way around the pyramid, you can see there are triangles. There's a triangle, and a triangle, and a triangle. And the reason that this is different to your cone is, remember, your cone had a curved side. Now your pyramid is going to have a flat side. So you can let your pyramid stand on its base of a square, but you can also let it stand on the triangle. Now let's have a look at what are pyramids in the world. Now this, you might have seen very famous pyramids that are in Egypt. And these pyramids are made out of bricks or out of sand. Now this is a satellite tower, and these send signals so that you can have internet. And a teepee is also a pyramid. Maybe you've got one of these at home, or you might have one at school, or you might have seen one. And you can see that there are triangles all the way around on the sides, and there is a square at the bottom. Okay, our next shape is a rectangular prism, and this is what it looks like. So it's very similar to a cube. If you had to imagine, you took a cube and you stretched it out a little bit, and you got rectangles all around it, then it would be a rectangular prism. Now it has sharp edges and corners and flat sides. So you can rest your rectangular prism like that. You can either have that at the bottom. Now my rectangular prism has squares on either side. But it doesn't have to have squares. It could be rectangles all the way around. So let's have a look at what would be a rectangular prism in the real world. A tissue box would be a rectangular prism, or a block of Lego. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have these at home. Or a gift could be a rectangular prism, or a box. You can see this box looks different to the box we saw earlier that was a cube, because here is a rectangle on the side, or a rectangle on this side, and a rectangle at the top. Okay, now this one, sometimes we struggle to say this. Remember that our PH makes the sound. So this is a sphere. So a sphere is very easy to recognize because it doesn't have any flat sides. If you look at it from the front, it might look like a circle. But the more you turn it around, you see it has curved edges all the way around. There are no sharp points on a sphere. Now, when do we see a sphere often? and I'm sure lots of you have this at home or you use it when you play sport, you definitely have a ball. A ball is a sphere, and it's very difficult to draw a sphere if you draw it flat because all of these parts would be curved edges. Or a Christmas decoration, a bauble on a tree could be a sphere. Or some fruit could be a sphere, like a lemon or an orange. And a soccer ball, another ball that could be a sphere. Maybe you can think of some more examples that you've seen at home that could be a sphere. Now, our last shape we're going to look at is a triangular prism. Now, this one is very similar to a rectangular prism. It just means that we have a triangle on the one side and a triangle on the other side. But all the way around, we have rectangles that make up our shape. And that's what it will look like from the side, like you see it in the picture. Okay, so a tent could be a triangular prism. Here you can see there would be a triangle here. And if you use your imagination to try and imagine what the back would look like, it would also be a triangle at the back. The side over here is a rectangle. Remember, it's a rectangle because it has two long sides and two equal short sides. A block of cheese could also be a triangular prism. And a wedge that you might use to keep your door open could also be a triangular prism. Now this shape can also stand either on its rectangle as a base, or it could stand on its triangle as a base. Maybe you've seen some triangular prisms around you at home or in the shop. And there's a very famous chocolate that comes in a triangular prism as its packaging or its box. Maybe you can ask mommy or daddy to tell you what that could be. Okay, so let's have a look at some of our shapes that we've looked at today. We've looked at a pyramid, a cylinder, a cube, a sphere, a cone, and a rectangular prism. Now, all these shapes are all around, and we are going to try and match the name of the shape to the shape around it. So, a pyramid. Let's have a look. Where do we see the pyramid? Yes, I see the pyramid over here. He looks quite angry in this bottom corner. Okay, our next shape is a cylinder. Where could we see a cylinder? Yes, over here the cylinder looks quite happy. Could you use your imagination and try to imagine that as a can of cool drink? Okay, let's look for our cube next. Over here I see the cube looks very excited. And how do we know that it is a cube? Remember, our cube has perfect squares all the way around. Every single side has to be an equal square. A sphere, and our sphere over here looks a bit frustrated or angry. And you can see the way that the light hits the sphere, that it is not a circle, but it is a sphere where there are curved edges all the way around. Our next shape we're going to look for is a cone. And our cone over here looks like he saw something quite exciting. His eyes are quite big. And you need to imagine that you can see the bottom of the cone that is flat and the curved edges all the way around. And our last shape we're going to look at is the rectangular prism. And that's the one over here. And he has rectangles all the way around, or he could have squares on either side. But it is a cube that we've just stretched out into a rectangle. Okay, in our grade 2s, you can try and find all the 3D shapes in your house. And I'm sure you can find at least one example of each of those 3D shapes. So thank you for watching grade 2s. I hope you've enjoyed learning with me today, and I hope that you've found some 3D shapes already around you that you might have at home. Until the next time that we can learn together, I hope you have a lovely afternoon. This lesson was brought to you by WorksheetCloud. Goodbye grade 2s.